What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are taking on the Ashton Kutcher Mila Kunis Danny Masterson scandal. Okay, I have not been this uncomfortable about a topic in quite some time. Why? It's heavy, it's complicated. Trigger warning, we will be talking about a criminal case involving sexual assault, aggravated sexual assault, and rape. So Danny Masterson, if you guys don't know, who was a co-star on that 70s show when he was younger, did a few other things, including a show called The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher a few years ago on Netflix. And he has been sentenced to 30 years to life for raping 2 women. Why are Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis involved in this? Well, right before the sentencing, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis wrote character witness statements for Danny Masterson to be considered by the judge when considering how he should be sentenced. Let's just start here. There was an apology put out on Instagram. I think it was specifically Ashton Kutcher's Instagram, where him and Mila were sitting there and they said, yes, we wrote these statements. We did not in any way intend to demean, belittle, or in any way try to minimize what the victims went through or said or had experienced. We only gave our experience of Danny. So let's start right there. Just that one simple fact that I think is super, super important. I think it's clear that Ashton Kutcher and Danny Masterson were friends. They were friends through the years. Now, we all have friends. We have best friends. Am I saying that Ashton and Danny were best friends? No, but they portrayed it on TV a lot and they stayed very close for years. So you could say they were close friends probably. My best friend in the world at any given point in my life, right? We're best friends. Best friends. I feel like you could tell me anything, right? But at some point in our day, you walk away and you go be your own person. I don't know the ins and outs of your intimate relationships. Likely you probably tell me some things and there's probably some things you don't tell me, right? There are some days we don't speak. There may be times where I'm struggling or you're struggling in life and we don't speak for months at a time. I don't know the ins and outs of everything that goes on with everyone in my life. Why do you think every crime that's ever committed, the family, or when it's like a serial killer and they're talking to the neighbor and they go, well, did you have any idea? They go, no, I would have never had any idea. He seemed like such a normal guy. People don't let other people know when they're doing terrible things. Why? That would be very dumb. You would get caught. You would get in trouble. Most people who are doing atrocious, evil shit, they don't want people to know that they are evil. So is Mila, Ashton, myself, anyone saying that Danny Masterson is not an absolute monster for what he did and that he doesn't deserve exactly what he got, if not worse? No, I don't think anyone's saying that at this point. Here's what I think Mila and Ashton were saying. This is the person that I was allowed to know. And here's where I want to put in my own personal experience, and I've talked to my family members about this. Guys, I had 3 DUIs. Now, that's not an aggravated crime. That's not a sexual crime. That's not anything else. But I had 3 DUIs. On my 3rd one, I was facing 7 to 10 years in prison. That's not 30 years to life, but that's a long time, right? That's a long time, 7 to 10 years in prison. My family had to conceive the idea that I would be gone for 7 to 10 years. That's almost like having to think of someone dying. There's just a chance they're going to come back after an extended period of time, but you have to learn to live without this person. And again, Danny Masterson's mother, his brother, who's also an actor, he was on Last Man Standing as the boyfriend or baby dad Ryan, which I didn't know until recently, but his mother and his brother are the two that these character witness statements were written for, and to go, hey, Danny does have a daughter. And this is where people really criticized Ashton and Mila, because in very artistic language, Ashton Kutcher goes, it would be an absolute travesty for Danny's daughter to grow up without her father. Now, people were going, no, it wouldn't. He's a rapist. Why should he be allowed to be around a young girl at all? And again, I don't know Danny's case. I didn't look up Danny Masterson's case. I don't know anything about the women or whether there was grooming involved. I know people are trying to make much about a lot right now. They're trying to make a lot about old comments that Ashton's made. They're trying to make a lot about old comments that Mila has made. They're trying to bring other celebrities like Hillary Duff into this and all that kind of stuff I'm not even going to get into. Because again, once the internet gets a hold of certain things and we're allowed to start adding context and taking context away, and we're not really willing to engulf the entirety of the situation, I don't think it's fair to do that. They're being criticized right now, or attacked, as I see it, for writing a character witness statement for a man that was convicted of terrible, terrible acts. Could I see where people would be like, dude, you got to know your friends better. Like, wow, wow, just would have never thought. Because here's one other thing. I don't know, a couple years ago, Ashton Kutcher hit the news as this tech guy. He's kind of a genius, actually. Everyone thought he was this silly guy on Punk'd and dude, where's my car? But now he's done all these investing and he's in technology and he's in this stuff. And then the story came out about him and his brother, and all the stories over the years about him and Mila have been fantastic and how cute them and their kids are. They're kind of like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, where just people love them. There's no reason not to, right? And I remember thinking like, wow, that's a lot of positive press for a celebrity couple. This is probably going to take a downhill at some point, I figure. You can't really let someone be this beloved for that long. We've seen it happen every time. The rise and the fall. The rise and the fall. Well, Ashton never really had a hot rise. He was always kind of the goofy guy in Hollywood until he became this adult version of himself where no strings attached and these kind of things started coming along. The new one with Reese Witherspoon, Your Place or Mine, he became this more mature guy. We knew him as the tech guy, and we knew he wasn't then known for Punk'd. So let's talk about that. The evolution of people. Are people allowed to evolve? Are people allowed to change? Are people allowed to be young and say dumb shit and not be current day evil monsters who are capable of grooming young people, especially with all the work that Ashton and Mila do for stopping sex trafficking? I think a lot of this is people just wanting something to clasp onto that's bigger than themselves. Now again, if Ashton did something wrong and he was grooming young women like people are claiming that he was, they're also claiming that he groomed his wife. We forget that we were criticizing Ashton Kutcher 10 years ago because he was married to a lady like 30 years his senior, or however old Demi Moore was. So he's either creepy because he's out dating these older women before he married the woman who he says he's always been in love with. But again, that was a complicated situation. Apparently Mila had some untruths about her age when she got on the show. And then the activities that were performed by two actors on the show are what's causing Ashton as a person to be scrutinized and almost be cast as this predatory criminal. Is that fair? I think it would be hard to justify why Mila Kunis would then marry Ashton Kutcher and have 2 kids and seemingly a lovely life, and the only scandal they've ever been involved in is a friend of theirs did some heinous stuff that they had no part in. Now, yes, is there a weird coincidence where apparently Ashton Kutcher was supposed to go on a date with this woman and she was laying inside murdered, and he went to the door because he was late, nobody answered, so he left, and then found out the lady had been inside dead when he tried to get it? Yeah, apparently that happened. And I don't know, but again, now we're going to say that because Ashton Kutcher is a person and he's lived an extraordinary life and he's been in extenuating circumstances that none of us could probably ever understand in most points of his life, these couple little tidbits, we're now going to go, well, that seems awful odd. It seems like Ashton's a real monster. It's like, well, I don't know. I haven't really seen anything that leads me to believe Ashton Kutcher is a monster or is in any way a bad person. Maybe he keeps weird company around him. Can we say that? If you're going on dates with women that end up being murdered and you got friends that end up doing heinous things like this, and, I don't know who else all he associates with, but okay, so then you got to kind of question his judgment a little bit. But again, you don't know everything that all your friends and the people around you or new people that you're potentially dating do. You don't know. You're just meeting people. You're just having relationships with people. So to get back at the issue at hand, did